Oh boy, Leon's trying to push. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Leon's getting close. He taps! Sean Brady! Sean Brady finishes Leon Edwards. The losing streak is over. We're back. Thank you, Sean Brady.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
What up, what up? This is your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is the TCMMA podcast. And you heard it right. The losing streak is over. After starting the year 3-1 in predictions in the main event, we lost 5 in a row. Hard to believe. Falling to 3-6 on the year. We get the win last night, though, as Leon Edwards fell. And before we go any further, let's just recap how this fight finished last night. Check this out. It's just wild to see Leon Edwards get dominated like this. I mean, the only thing more Sean Brady can do is get the finish. And he might get it here. Leon's in trouble. Look at this. Oh, boy, Leon's trying to push. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Leon's getting close. He taps! Sean Brady! Wow! Sean Brady finishes Leon Edwards. Sean Brady finishes Leon Edwards, a guy who does not get finished, who's been in major battles with Usman for 10 rounds, who went toe-to-toe with Bilal, didn't get finished, went to a decision, and Sean Brady comes in here and absolutely dominates Leon Edwards like nobody expected. I said he's going to win, but I was still on shaky ground saying that. I mean, listen to these numbers. 202-20 total strikes, 124-18 significant strikes, 93-9 in head strikes, 5 takedowns, 11 minutes and 10 seconds of control. This is the most dominant performance we've seen over a number one contender in a long time, if not ever. Tom Brady is 18-1. He will likely become the number one contender. And although we have a welterweight title fight between Jack Della Maddalena and the champ Bilal Muhammad, it's clear that Sean Brady is going to be fighting for the title against the winner of that fight. This is unbelievable. And you want to think, hey, maybe it's just because Leon's getting older. The guy's only 33 years old. He's still in the prime window. He was 22-4 coming in. I mean, this is a massive, massive victory for Sean Brady. Just domination. He's going to move to 18-1 here. Welterweight division, main event. The losing streak is over. We're back. Thank you, Sean Brady. That's it from UFC London. Yeah, and I couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing yesterday. It's like, okay, Leon Edwards is getting dominated, but eventually he's going to come back, right? Remember Usman, he's getting beat 3-1 in that fight. That fight is basically over. Usman just needs to run out the clock and bam, leg kick by Leon Edwards. He comes through. But the bigger story is that Leon Edwards never gets finished. Without even looking, I know that. I mean, the guy does not get finished. He might lose, but he does not get finished. And, man, shocking victory, surprising victory last night for Sean Brady. And again, as we said there, we picked him to win, but I wasn't 100% sure. I mean, it's in England, right? Leon Edwards has never lost there. Sean Brady's got to go into hostile territory and get the win, and he did just that. And then after the win, he actually was he blasted Leon Edwards. According to Bloody Elbow, Sean Brady mocks Leon Edwards for tapping out as UFC London feud continues after stoppage. In the post-fight media press conference, if you will, Sean Brady says, nobody's ever did it like me, and then I submitted him and made him quit in front of his hometown. If we were in Philly, That's where Sean Brady's from. You ain't making me quit in front of my hometown. I'm telling you that. I'm not tapping, more or less, is what he's saying. So just remember that. So the feud continues, but right now it's all Sean Brady. And I think Leon Edwards is done, right? I think Leon Edwards is done. He's gotten dominated on the ground uh, against Bilal, now Sean Brady. And, this division is changing to where you're seeing the ground game take shape for these high-level fighters. If you don't have a ground game, it's not going to go well for you. And that's what we're seeing in the welterweight division. And now you got Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315. After that, the winner's going to fight Sean Brady sometime this summer, maybe September, August, something like that. But that's coming. And solid night last night. 13 fights, not one KO. You had 3 or 4 submissions and like 9 or 10 decisions. It was a long, long day. From 1 to 7:30. It was a long day here on the East Coast. Eastern Standard Time, that is. Now, Hamzat Chimaev was also at UFC London last night in the corner of Guram Kudalate. But the problem is Kudalate got dominated from the opening bell to the closing bell. Absolutely dominated in his fight. It didn't go his way. So, not a big deal for Hamzat, but he's there to support his boy. He gets the loss. Hamzat's still waiting for the fight to be made official to where he's fighting for the middleweight title. I think it's been a long time coming. We all want to see that fight. And now it's just a matter of time. And, let me know in the comment section who you think is going to win that fight. We'll put that poll up too, especially once that fight is announced, because we're going to be talking about that for months. And hopefully all the boo birds come out as they do every time. Every time Hamzat fights somebody, it's like, oh, the other guy's way better. Robert Whittaker's way better. Didn't you see what he did to Aliskerov? He's going to dominate Hamzat. Okay, how'd that turn out? And this will continue even when Hamzat is the champ. And hopefully he wins the belt and just leaves the middleweight division and goes right to light heavyweight. No point defending a belt. Just walk away like Ilia Topuria did. That's how you do it. But that fight is coming. Or at least it seems like it is. We've seen stranger things happen, but I don't think the UFC is going to get away with it this time. They got to put him in the title fight. Now, before we get to UFC Mexico City and those predictions coming up this Saturday, let's get into John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Dana White, according to Bloody Elbow, this is, once again, Dana White saying it's done, but, right, as he tells people when he arrived in London. He says, well, I'll tell you what I've been telling you since day one. When asked about an update for Jones versus Aspinall, the fight is going to happen. It's just a matter of when now and getting it signed and done. The fight will happen. It's going to happen. It's done. But it's not done enough to sit right here now and announce it and give you a date. So what's happening now is John Jones is going to jump in with Mike Perry in, I think it's the Dirty Boxing League or something along those lines. He's going to become a part owner, I believe. And he's kind of starting to slowly get away from fighting. I mean, does he really want this Aspinall fight? It's going to happen, I believe. But we've seen John Jones just delayed. Like when he's the champ, he's not fighting but like once a year. And you're going to have to go through months and months and months of agony and waiting for him to defend that belt. And then when he does, he's going to fight a guy like Stipe. He's going to fight someone that he's pretty sure he's going to beat. And, that's just the way it goes. So when this fight is going to happen, your guess is as good as mine at this point. Now, Bloody Elbow, once again, Bloody Elbow's rocking today. Saying Joe Rogan claims Alex Pereira fought UFC 313 with broken bone and serious illness. It's coming on Joe Rogan's podcast yesterday, which I guess they went live for UFC London. I didn't see it because we were covering it, but I'll go back and listen for sure. Joe Rogan says they say he fought with a broken hand and neurovirus against Ankalaev. He fought with a broken toe before when he beat Yuri Prochazka, and he had a messed up knee. Rogan claimed during an episode of Fight Companion during UFC London on Saturday. So I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, Pereira did not look good in that fight. And was that because something was wrong, or was it because of Magomed Ankalaev? I thought it might be, okay, we're finally seeing a 37-year-old, roughly, I believe, right around there, Alex Pineda. So he's going to start slowing down. You're heading towards 40, right? But if he had some other complications, that would make sense as to why he didn't look good in that fight. And if that's true, maybe he's not done just yet, right? Maybe he's not quite done. I thought he was done. But I'd like to see him go up to heavyweight division now. Let's just make it happen. It's time to go to the heavyweight division. So that's kind of what's going on in the world of the UFC. Not a lot to cover today. UFC London was phenomenal last night. We ended up going 8-5 on the night. We're back to 4-6 in the main event. Not great, but it's time to put together a winning streak and get ahead of the wins and losses. I mean, overall, we're sitting at like something like, I don't know, 68-52 or something like that. I mean, we're doing fine overall in terms of all picks, but the main event is something that we really look at. And it didn't start off well, but it didn't start off well last year. And then it was a struggle down the stretch to finish like what, 22-17 or something like that. We've had years where we started 16-2, 15-1. And the last 2 years have just been a struggle, but that's because the matchmakers are doing a heck of a job. And as the depth in the UFC and MMA altogether gets, better and better, these fights are closer and closer. And the matchmakers are putting guys that I'm finding myself doing predictions all the time. When I look at the resume of the fighters, they're like equal. Like both guys facing off have won 4 of the last 5. There's less and less angles to say, well, this guy's lost 2 in a row. His momentum is down. He's probably going to lose. Like stuff like that is non-existent because what the matchmakers are doing is putting 2 guys against each other that both have back-to-back losses. So they're doing a great job with the matchmaking right now, and the depth is making that easier to do. Now, before we go forward, let's pay some bills. We're coming right back. Stay tuned. You asked, and we delivered. The TCMMA merch shop is now live.
Yes!
And we got all different types of products, including hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and if you drink coffee, we got coffee mugs too. You better believe it. But what's trending right now is the new Brazil shirts. Don't invite Brazil to the party, because if you do, Brazil is going to win 9 times out of 10 and wreck the party, especially in MMA. That's for sure. These products will help grow the show. So if you support the show, get you a product, a t-shirt, a hat, a hoodie, or something along those lines. Yeah, so there you have it, man. We got the merch shop is open. It's time to get busy. And we're going to get some stuff and put them on the shelves. We're going to be wearing it as well. I got to pay for it just like you do. So, I got to get my money straight, right? In order to get me some stuff. But I'm going to get a bunch of stuff here in the next few months and, kind of show it off. I definitely got to get one of those Brazil shirts. Everyone's been asking me about that. What do you mean don't invite Brazil? It sounds like a negative thing. Don't invite Brazil to the party if you're Brazilian. But it's in fact a positive thing because I'm saying, like last night at UFC London, you invite Brazil to the party and the guy's an underdog and he comes out and gets a win. I mean, Brazil is tough in MMA. There's other places too, like Dagestan, Russia, all these, even the Mexican fighters are tough. English fighters are tough, but Brazil seems to has a lot of fighters. And there's one women's division where 8 of the top 10 fighters are from Brazil. I mean, it's wild. It might be the bantamweight division. I have to look that up, but yeah, man, get some of that stuff and flaunt it and let people know that you're a subscriber or you watch the TCMMA podcast as we build this thing. That's a way you can help us build this channel, right? Help us get some more stuff. Eventually, we want to be interviewing people, having people on the show, doing watch parties with multiple people, all these things, but it's going to take a little while to get there because then you got to pay a producer or someone behind the scenes like Young Jamie on the JRE podcast, right? You got to pay someone in order to get all those things going. So we're going to get there, but right now it's a one-man show. So let's move forward. This Saturday night, we're back to night, starting at 4 o'clock. You got the prelims in Mexico City. Then the main card begins at 9. I'm going to be off to a late start this week because I'm attending a celebration of life event. I have a track meet early in the morning, so it's just going to be, I'm going to be going from like 6 a.m. all the way till about 10 o'clock when this thing ends. And that's just how we do it. It seems like it's that way every day for us. But in the first prediction we're going to get to, I mean, this is a big one. I mean, I love when Raul Rosas Jr. fights. I mean, I just love it. And every time he's getting a healthy opponent, right? Remember, he lost to Christian Rodriguez. That's his only loss. Guy's 20 years old now. And this time he's taking on Vince Morales. Now, he's the favorite, and he fights in the bantamweight division. But he does have that one loss over his head, but he's fighting in Mexico. It's hard to see him losing, but you never know. So this is the first fight we're getting into. This is fight 4. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. Check it out. In the bantamweight division at UFC Mexico City, you got a big one here with the youngster, Raul Rosas Jr. 10-1 takes on Vince Morales, who comes in at 16-9. And this is another big opportunity for Rosas Jr. fighting at home in Mexico. And we've seen him now over several UFC fights. Guess what? He's just 20 years old. I mean, it's crazy. Both guys stand 5'9". Vince Morales is 34. So 14-year age difference. Morales 3-inch reach advantage. He stands right-handed. Rosas Jr. is a switch stance fighter. Morales lands 3.8 significant strikes per minute to 1.6 for Rosas Jr. And that's something he's got to get better at, because right now it's all the takedown game. He lands more than one takedown per round, but if that's not working, that could be a problem for him. Now, he's come into the UFC and taken it by storm, really. I mean, he's basically 5-1, one of those wins coming at the Contender Series. He did lose to Christian Rodriguez by a decision, and, it was just a fight that, he landed 3 takedowns to 1, but got outstruck 29-2. And that's the thing. If the takedown game isn't dominant, he has shown that he can't stand and strike with his opponents, at least as of yet. But then he comes back and beats Terrence Mitchell by KO, submits Ricky Tercios. That was a big one. And beat Aori Kalang, where he looked more well-rounded. 41-22 in significant strikes, 3-0 in takedowns. So he's already getting better. And he's going to continue to do so for over the next 7 to 10 years. I mean, it's wild. Now, Morales has lost 4 in a row, but against good fighters. Jonathan Martinez, Miles Johns, all these coming by decision, Taylor Lapalus, and Elijah Smith. So these have only made him better, right? Before that, he was beating Luis Smolka, Draco Rodriguez. This all goes all the way back to 2021 and 2020, but struggling right now. And that tells me that Raul Rosas Jr. better win this fight. Because if he doesn't, that's like saying, well, he's not as good as the other 4 fighters that Vince Morales lost to. Morales has 9 losses. Yeah, he's 34 years old. He's in peak form in terms of the age at 34, right? So, could there be problems here for Raul Rosas Jr.? Of course, but I don't foresee that happening. I think this is a fight that he's got to dominate. He will dominate. He'll get takedowns early and often. And Vince Morales' takedown defense is below average at 60%. So, this is another one that Raul Rosas Jr. gets to fight at home. He should lead in significant strikes. He should lead with the takedown game, which will help him lead in significant strikes. So I just don't see a path for Vince Morales to get the win on the road here against Raul Rosas Jr. I think Raul Rosas Jr. wins by decision to move to 11-1 here, bantamweight division, UFC, Mexico City. Yeah, we can't go against a phenom, right? You cannot go against a phenom in this one. He's only 20 years old, but the guy is phenomenal. I mean, you got to figure he's going to have a loss or two along the way in the build-up. Eventually, he's going to go up to a different level, and you might take a loss because he's only going to be 22, 23, 24. But when this guy's like 26, he's going to be the champ. I mean, it is what it is. All these other guys, Dvalishvili and others that are above him, are going to age out. He's the number 1 prospect in the bantamweight division right now. One guy that might be around, though, will be Sean O'Malley, because he's still kind of young, I believe. I'd love to see that fight eventually if Sean O'Malley can get back to winning form. Now, as we move forward, you got a big one as we get into the big 3. You got Kelvin Gastelum taking on Joe Pyfer, and this is going to be a high-level fight where someone could get finished. I mean, that's the bottom line. Someone could get finished in this one. So let's dive into this right now. In the middleweight division at UFC Mexico City, you got Kelvin Gastelum taking on Joe Pyfer. I like this one. Highly interesting and intriguing fight here. Gastelum looking for his 20th professional win. He's 19-9. Pfeiffer 13-3. So both guys used to win, and Pfeiffer heavy favorite here though. He's 5 inches taller at 6'2". He's 28. Gastelum 33. Pfeiffer 4-inch reach advantage. He fights right-handed. Gastelum fights left-handed. Both guys almost equal on the feet at 3.7 significant strikes per minute, and both guys get like a takedown every other round, one every three, somewhere right in between there. So it's pretty much even in terms of the numbers. Now Gastelum 59% takedown defense, coming off the win over Daniel Rodriguez, where he had 4 takedowns. Look out! But he trailed by 15 significant strikes. Lost to Tom Brady by Kimura submission. Okay, beat Chris Curtis by decision. So he's won 2 of the last 3, and only really losing to the big dogs, right? Like Sean Brady, Jared Cannonier, Robert Whitaker. I mean, he's only losing to the big dogs. He's beaten who he's supposed to beat. Pfeiffer somewhere in between there because he's got KO power, but only a 50% takedown defense. He beat Marc-Andre Barriault uh, by first round KO. Lost to Jack Hermanson. Okay, so similar. Beating guys he should. Abdul Razak Al Hassan submission. Gerald Mearshart KO. Wow. Alan Amadovsky first round KO. Ozzy Diaz second round KO. So basically he's beating everybody but Jack the Joker Hermanson. Gastelum's beating everybody but really good fighters. This is going to be a very close fight. Much closer than you might think when you look at the odds, because Kelvin Gastelum is tough. He doesn't go down easy for the most part, and very capable of winning this fight. But I got to lean towards Joe Pfeiffer. He's still the up-and-comer, 28 years old, has looked good so far. Yeah, he lost against, Jack Hermanson, but when you're in your mid to early 20s, you should lose that fight, and it should gain you a lot of experience, and I think that's what's going to happen. Now, Kelvin Gastelum's not old either. He's 33. But I still lean towards the youth of Joe Pfeiffer. I think this is a fight that gets him over the hump and to the next level, right? There's levels to this game. You beat Gastelum, you're on a different level. You're not necessarily at that highest level yet, but you're just below that. And this is a big opportunity for Pfeiffer, and he's got to pull through here. I think he gets the win, but it goes a distance, and he wins by decision, and he leads on the feet. But you got to be careful of those takedowns. That's what I'm really worried about with Gastelum. If he can defend the takedowns, he's got to defend the takedowns, and that's not a guarantee. But I like him to get the win anyway. Right? He'll defend enough and get out of 1 or 2 to win 2 out of 3 rounds. So that's the way we're leaning. In my opinion, Joe Pfeiffer wins to move to 14-3 middleweight division, UFC Mexico City. Yeah, Joe Pfeiffer's got this one, but again, Kelvin Gastelum is very tough. Isn't a guy that you're just going to go in there and run through. I mean, it's possible, but we've seen him beat some big names, and we've seen him go toe-to-toe with some even bigger names. And Joe Pfeiffer isn't a big name just yet, right? He's still got a lot to prove. And Gastelum could get the win. This is one of those that to me is more like a toss-up because of Kelvin Gastelum's ability to sneak up on you. So we'll see what happens. But we're rocking with Joe Pfeiffer in this one. Now, as we jump into the main event, you got Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. Mexico versus USA. You're seeing this up and down the card, right? It's in Mexico City. So you're going to have Mexican fighters up and down. So the crowd's going to love these last 2 fights. And it begins here because Manuel Torres is a guy that is obviously a home crowd favorite. And they're going to expect him to win. So let's jump into this one right now. In the lightweight division at UFC Mexico City, you got Manuel Torres taking on Drew Dober. Gosh, I love this fight. It's a co-main event, lightweight division, one of the best in the UFC. Let's dive in. Torres 15-3, Dober 27-14. Torres 2 inches taller at 5'10". He's 29. Dober 36. Torres 3-inch reach advantage. He's a switch stance fighter. Dober stands left-handed. Now, in terms of activity on the feet, Torres is ridiculous. 7.2 significant strikes per minute to 4.4 for Dober. So you're looking at, 30 to 40 significant strike difference in a 3-round fight. But it's even, right? These guys are pretty much even in the odds. Now, on the ground, too, Torres, 2 takedowns, over 2 takedowns per 3 rounds. Dober won every 5. So it's even, but on paper right now, it looks like Torres. The thing that makes it even is Dober has 41 fights in his career. Torres, 88% takedown defense, so he's likely not getting taken down. But hold on, he got KO'd by Ignacio Bahamondes in the last fight. So that kind of slowed everything down. But he beat Chris Duncan by submission. Nicholas Mata KO. Frank Camacho, right? That had to be a little while ago. Yep, 2022, first round KO. So he's won 4 of the last 5, but he's coming in off a loss. Dober fights everybody. He got KO'd by Gene Silva. That's a tough fight for anyone right now. Renato Moicano, really good, lost to him by decision, but a very close fight. Beat Ricky Glenn, lost to Matt Frivola, beat King Green, Rafael Alves, Terrence McKinney. See, that's where it gets interesting. And how good is Manuel Torres? I mean, you know, the thing that I see here is, and you got to keep this in mind when these guys are in their 20s. Dober's 36. He's exiting the prime, but a lot of experience, and he's still in that age where he's not too old, right? 36 to 38, they're going to beat some of these younger fighters. Torres right now is getting better than every time you've seen him the last time because he hasn't reached the peak yet. So whatever he did last time, it's only going to get better. The competition level's a little different. Dober's had more competition level, but he seems to be slowing down. And I got to give the edge to Torres, right? Trust me, Dober can win this fight. But in picking one of the two, I got to go with Torres. More to gain now and into the future, getting better every time we see him. So hopefully he can turn it up a notch here and get the win. But listen, the lightweight division comes down to experience as well. And again, it's not that Dober can't win this fight. He certainly can. That's why it's even. But I'm leaning towards Torres and the activity and the ground game to pull away in the third here to get the win by decision. Lightweight division, UFC, Mexico City. And the fact is, Drew Dober is tough, but I'm banking on the fact that he's fighting at home too, right? When you fight at home, you have an advantage. Now, there's added pressure on Manuel Torres, but in a third round situation where it's likely going to be 1-1, the home crowd is going to get loud and carry you over the top because the home crowd is going to be well aware of what's happening, right? And they're going to be backing Manuel Torres like crazy, and that's going to just give him enough motivation and energy to get the win in round 3. Remember, I said that. Now, as we jump into the main event, it's obviously a big one, right? Flyweight division doesn't always get a lot of hype. If this thing was at the Apex Center in Vegas, probably wouldn't be a great fight night. But the fact that it's in Mexico City and Brandon Moreno is fighting, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this fight. Steve Erceg is no joke, by the way. And guess what? We're 4-6 right now. The winning streak has been snapped. That's why we started off with Leon Edwards and Sean Brady, what happened last night, to kind of build the mood leading up to this fight pick, because we got to get back in winning form, right? We got to get this one. This will get us back to 5-6. But who are we going to take? That's the big question. Let's jump into it right now. In the flyweight division, your main event at UFC Mexico City, you got Brandon Moreno taking on Steve Erceg. So it's pretty obvious. Moreno's the hometown favorite from Mexico, right? He's a 2-1 favorite coming in. So let's dive in and see if this holds up. Moreno 22-8, Erceg 12-3. Mexico versus Australia. Erceg 1 inch taller at 5'8". He's 29. Moreno 31. Moreno's got a 2-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Both guys right around 4 significant strikes per minute. Erceg might outpace him by like 5 significant strikes throughout the fight, but it's very close on the feet. Moreno lands like a takedown every other round. Erceg gets like 1 every 3. Moreno 64% takedown defense. Erceg 60. So the numbers are very close in this fight. Moreno coming off the win over Amir Albazi. That's a big one. By decision, dominated him on the feet, 132-63. But lost to Brandon Royval and Alexander Pantoja. But hold on. Both of those were by split decision. So relax, right? Against Royval, he got dominated on the feet, sort of, right? He was down by 33 significant strikes, but he still landed 112. He had 3 takedowns to 1. Then against Pantoja, he actually led on the feet, but gave up 6 takedowns, only had 2. Before that, he KO'd Davis and Figueiredo. And you remember they went back and forth for a while. Erceg, coming off back-to-back losses over Kai Kara France, KO, and Alexander Pantoja, uh, current champ, best in the division by far. But he lost to him by decision. Then he gave up 9 takedowns. So Pantoja had his way with both Erceg and Moreno. But this matchup is much different. I don't think either one's going to dominate necessarily on the ground or on the feet. It's going to be an absolute battle. If someone gets finished here, that would be very, very interesting. But this is a perfect matchup. Not like Pantoja, where both guys are just getting taken down at will. 15 total takedowns for Pantoja in those 2 fights. This one's going to be different. It's going to probably be a striker's delight. And if that's the case, I'm going to, side with Brandon Moreno on this one. Plus, he's at home. There's going to be good times in this fight. There's going to be bad times for both fighters. But when you're at home, that crowd can pick you back up. And I think Moreno's going to hold strong. And it's going to come down to the 5th round. And I think Moreno pulls ahead. And I think the crowd's a huge factor in this fight because it's much closer than the odds. And they'll be able to push Moreno to the finish line. That's how I see it going down. Moreno gets the win here. Flyweight division, main event at UFC Mexico City. And sometimes the home crowd is a good thing, and sometimes it's not, right? Because it can lead to a lot of pressure on a fighter. But Brandon Moreno is used to pressure, right? He's been in a lot of title fights. I mean, just with one guy, Davis and Figueiredo, I think they had 4 fights. Then he fights Alexander Pantoja. He didn't win that one. So the pressure is not a big deal for Moreno. In fact, the crowd will be a good thing here because it should lead him to a higher level against a very high-level fighter. And he's going to need to be at the highest level to win this fight. But at the end of the day, I think he gets the job done. I think Brandon Moreno is going to go in there and win by decision. If he gets the finish, that will be even crazier. But again, I can't get out of here before I remind you that Steve Erceg is really good. Anything can happen in this fight. But since we got to pick one, we got to go with Brandon Moreno to get the job done. So that's the way this week looks, man. It's going to be a great week of fighting. I'm very excited about it. Very excited to see Moreno versus Erceg because I don't know which way it's going to go. There's several other fights on this card, as we see every week, that are very tough to predict. And this one is no exception. This is going to be a great card. And just like in London last week, the Mexico City fans, the Mexican fans, are going to come out and sell it out, obviously, because the UFC sells out everywhere. But they're going to be ecstatic. Ecstatic. That's the way it stands. Listen, this is your boy Chris Cross. Until next time, I hope you have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.